Hi, I'm Val Massey, also known as Pann, and I'm the Director of Community here at Artcraft. I'm very excited to be doing this Christmas edition of Murder of Crows. The short answer is that it's an homage to Peter Pan, and specifically the movie Hook, which I absolutely loved. It's one of my favorite movies ever.
It's Peter Pan.
People ask me a lot how I got into the game industry, and it was really more of an accident. When I was a kid, I was always interested in drama class and writing. I entered a lot of writing competitions and won awards for that. I did speech and drama in high school. And when I got into college, I was in journalism. And I had expected that I would wind up going into advertising or marketing, something that would let me use that skill set. I always loved games. I loved board games and card games, couldn't get enough of it. And when video games started to get big in the mid-'80s, when Roberta Williams was making all those fantastic games for Sierra, like the Laura Bone Mysteries and King's Quest, and then Leisure Suit Larry came along and the Heroes Quest games, and I just could not get enough of that and spent so much time playing those games. And my favorite game to this day is still Phantasmagoria. I just think that nothing has ever come close to that. In the late 90s, I was living on a farm halfway between Houston and Dallas, bored out of my skull. I was not cut out for farm life. And one of my cousins convinced me to try Ultima Online. We had just gotten the internet in our area and we had a terrible connection, but I tried UO anyway. And that opened up a whole new world for me. Those skills that I had from high school with the writing, I was able to tap into that, and I wrote for Stratix, which was a huge game site at the time. Stratix was the thing. If you played UO, that's where you went for all of your strategy and game news. So I wrote for Stratix, and I got involved in the player volunteer program where I was a counselor and helped other players, and then became a seer where I ran in-game events. And that's where the drama nerd in me finally had a place to kind of plug into the game also. A funny thing about UO is that's where I met my husband, because he was also a player volunteer. So it was another friend of mine that I met when I was playing UO, who was a video game producer, Mike Wallace, was going to produce EVE Online. And he knew that I was involved in UO, that I was doing this player volunteer stuff, that I was writing for the website, and he asked me if I would like to be the community manager for EVE. There weren't that many people doing community management at the time. And I really had a lot of respect for the community team at UO. They were the ones that were the most familiar to me since I was a player. And I thought, yeah, I can do that. So I signed on and I worked for EVE for a couple of years until it launched. Then moved over to NCSoft, where I had a chance to work on Tabula Rasa. The amazing thing about that was that Tabula Rasa was being developed by Richard Garriott and Star Long, who were the same guys that made Ultima Online. And to have a chance to not only meet, but to work with people that have had that big of an impact on your life was incredible. And then eventually I went back to CCP and returned to EVE Online and stayed there for several years. And now I'm here. Gordon Walton and I met several years ago when we were members of the GDC advisory board together. Gordon contacted me to see if I'd be interested in stepping in and doing community here. And of course I jumped at the chance. I can still remember the exact moment when I fell in love with Crowfall. I was watching the overview video like everybody else when the big announcement was made, and it was the first time that we were seeing what the guys here had been working on. And it was when John O'Neill was talking about how you could destroy things in the game.
From the moment Todd came to me and told me about this game, the one thing that I really was excited about was the destruction. The idea of coming around a corner, finding another player, shooting a fireball, hitting a wall, blowing that up, and having that fall down on that player was just an awesome idea.
That was the pivotal moment for me when I realized that Crowfall was going to be something different than what we had ever seen before. And it's been an amazing adventure. I absolutely love this team. We really have a good time. It's that whole cliche of we work hard and we play hard, but we really do. And it's a wonderful place to be in, and these are really exciting times right now. And to see how the community is growing, the response that we've had to the pre-alpha, it's absolutely phenomenal. And I'm so excited to be here and so proud to be a part of this project. My career in the game industry has just been a crazy roller coaster ride, just one amazing adventure after another, where I've traveled all around the world. I've been to places that I'd never even dreamed of going. I practically lived in Iceland while I worked for CCP. I've been to Finland and Morocco. It's not just about being in the industry for me, and it's not just about the cool places that I've been. It's finding a way to use the talents that I have, doing the things that I love, and pursuing that. To not be complacent with my life, but to be content. I wanted to do my episode of Murder of Crows in December as kind of the holiday episode, because there's something very near and dear to my heart that I wanted to talk about and give a shout out to a charity that I absolutely love and support wholeheartedly, and it's called Get Well Gamers. So let me give you a little bit of background on why this charity means so much to me. Back in my days on the farm, my son Nicholas was born in December, on December 30th, and I've always loved Christmas time. So here I was having a baby at Christmas time, and Christmas time was coming, and everything was awesome. I have Nicholas, and we had our first Christmas together right after he was born, and it was before his first birthday, he was diagnosed with a form of muscular dystrophy. And then he died maybe 2 months after his second birthday. So we didn't have him for very long. The next Christmas rolls around, and what do? Like, when you've had a loss like that, you want to remember the person, and you're like, it's his birthday and it's Christmas, but he's not really here. So I bought an angel ornament, and every year I would get an angel ornament and put it on the tree, just in memory of Nick, as a way to remember that he had, that he was still part of the family. After 20 years, I had a tree full of these little angels, and instead of being comforting, it was sad. He'd been gone for a long time. And I felt like I needed to do something that would have a greater impact, something that would be more meaningful, that would take me outside of myself, help me remember how blessed I was. And then boom, I got an email that told me about Get Well Gamers. The charity was started in 2001 by a guy named Ryan Sharp, who was barely more than a kid himself. And it was inspired because of time he spent in the hospital, way too much time as a kid. After he was in the hospital for a while, he would play these games. He realized that it helped him, not just to alleviate the boredom, and then they've done scientific studies that back this up too, that children who are playing video games, not even just children, anybody playing video games, really, you heal faster, you need less medication. It's scientific, it's science, y'all. So there are so many reasons why it's important to get these games and get video game equipment into the hospitals. So a lot of charities like this will only accept brand new things. Ryan can accept things that people send him. So if you have a Game Boy or some old Game Boy games that you don't use anymore, Ryan will take them and he will give them new life in one of these children's hospitals. But it needs support. These games, to send them around to the hospitals and whatnot, he has expenses that oftentimes, if there's not enough money in the account, Ryan will pay for it himself. So he's supported the charity largely by his own efforts and just sheer determination. And I was fortunate enough, a couple of years ago, Ryan came to town. He lives in California. Ryan came to town, and I got to go with him to deliver some games. I mean, a big bunch of games that were donated, and we took them over to Dell Children's Hospital. And for me, that was an amazing experience. I want to wish you happy whatever holiday you celebrate. If you're going to be gathered around the Festivus pole, you know, displaying amazing feats of strength and airing your grievances, or if you celebrate Kwanzaa or Hanukkah or Christmas or just bah humbug, we wish you the happiest bah humbug you've ever had. And thank you for supporting us, and we will see you on the forums.